8 astonishing facts about the Titanic that are not known to many. Lives were lost much before it set sail. During the almost 26-month construction of the Titanic at Belfast's Harland and Wolff shipyard, 28 serious and 218 minor incidents were recorded. 8 workers were lost their lives. This was a small number than expected for the time, one life lost for every £100,000 spent. As the Titanic cost approximately £1.5 million to build, 15 lost lives could have been anticipated. 43-year-old shipwright James Dobbin actually lost his life on the day of the Titanic's launch. Dobbin was completely crushed while removing the timber stays holding the ship upright. The largest liner in the world. At the time of her famous launch, the Titanic became the largest movable manufactured object. She was 28 meters wide and 269 meters long. From keel to bridge, she was nearly 32 meters high and 53 meters to the top of the stacks. Because of all her grandeur, the Titanic should have 4 exhaust stacks. However, Thomas Andrews' very efficient original design necessitated only 3. The ship, therefore, had 1 stack that was purely decorative. Titanic's unprecedented size was a result of competition between her owners at Cunard Line and White Star Line. 1 of 3. Because of the size and the new equipment it would require, it would have been very expensive to build the Titanic alone. Instead, the Titanic was built alongside 2 sister ships, both of which also had rather eventful lifetimes. Construction of the RMS Olympic began first, and this ship was launched on the 20th of September 1910. For the next year, the fractionally smaller Olympic was said to be the largest liner in the world. The Olympic was the only one of the 3 to survive for more than half a decade. The third and largest ship, the Britannic, went into production after the Titanic mishap and sank in 1916 after hitting a mine. Room for at least 1,000 more. Approximately 2,200 people were on board when the Titanic went down in 1912. However, her maximum capacity was nearly 3,500. Of these, the additional 1,000 would be crew. In 1912, there were at least 908 crew members but fewer passengers. There were nearly 324 in first class, 284 in the second, and 709 in the third. Close to 1,490 and 1,635 of these people lost their lives as the ship sank, including the captain. Estimated wealth of first-class passengers was said to be $500 million. $87 million of this wealth is attributed to John Jacob Astor IV. On their voyage from New York back in January 1912, Astor and his wife Madeline traveled on the Olympic. Astor was said to be the richest passenger on board the Titanic on their return journey and was also one of the richest people in the world. In the sinking, he lost his life as a women and children first protocol was followed. It is estimated that nearly $6 million worth of belongings went down with the Titanic. However, what was not included was the supposed riches of one Alfred Nerney. Traveling under the fake title of Baron Alfred von Draxted, Nerney used this aristocratic status to transfer to first class. As the ship sank, Nerney quickly gained access to a lifeboat from the first-class smoking room. Unlike the 168 men from his original second-class quarters, only 14 of whom managed to survive the sinking. First class on the Titanic was a place of luxury. The Titanic had 4 restaurants, and passengers would eat off the 50,000 pieces of solid bone china crockery supplied by Stonier and Company. There were 2 libraries, reading rooms, 2 barbershops and even a photographic darkroom on board. First-class passengers could reserve a heated swimming pool for use at £1 a time. There were also electric baths and Turkish baths, each for £4 at a time. The Titanic had its very own Atlantic Daily Bulletin printed on board, including news, society gossip and the menu for the day. A first-class passenger paid £30 for a regular room or £875 for a parlour suite. However, most passengers that were in third class and paid anywhere between £3 and £8. There were only 2 baths for all of the passengers in third class, many of whom bunked in the 164-bed dormitory on Deck G. A lifeboat drill was called off. This was probably because Captain Edward Smith wanted to deliver a final Sunday service before his retirement. But, the ship sank that very night. The crew had only organized 1 lifeboat drill whilst the ship was docked. Even if the crew was better trained and each lifeboat was filled, there was only sufficient space for about 1/3 of the ship's maximum capacity. It was strongly believed that the ship would not sink, so there would be plenty of time to ferry passengers off it. The wreckage was discovered in the last 50 years. The Titanic wreck currently lies 3,700 meters below the Atlantic's surface. It wasn't discovered until 1985, at which time it was officially confirmed that the boat had split in 2. The task of finding the Titanic was even included in a military operation to survey remains of nuclear submarines led by Robert Ballard. The separated bow and stern are almost 1/3 of a mile apart. Debris from the ship is said to cover an area of 15 square miles. Many areas of the ship still remain unexplored, as they are nearly inaccessible to underwater vehicles.